How you doing? This is Coach DeCarlo. Today we're going to be discussing Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply. And what you're going to learn today is how to use feelings to create the life you desired. Again, Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply. Today we're going to be discussing Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply technique. Neville says this: can you smother yourself in feelings? Yes, you can. After smothering yourself in feelings, you have sent it on its way, and it cannot be taken back. For prayer is nothing more than the subjective appropriation of an objective hope. Imagine by giving objective reality to your hope. Hair is the most objective thing on a man. Bring your hope so close that you can feel what it would be if it were objective to you. What are we saying? First, he says, you must smother yourself in feeling. This is to clothe yourself in feeling, or to make that feeling so real. You must feel that feeling as true, whatever that feeling is. If it's abundance, you must get into the state of abundance. You must hold on to abundance. If it's love, you must begin acting and feeling as one who is in love. If it's better health, then you begin to live from that place of better health. Whatever it is that you want to objectify in your life, you must subjectify it first in your mind. He says prayer is nothing more than the subjective appropriation of the objective hope. What does that mean? The subjective is the subconscious mind. So this is your imagination. The objective is what you're trying to bring about in your physical reality. So what is it that you want? What is it that you're hoping for? This is what you give place to in your subconscious mind. This is what you begin imagining, believing as real. It says, imagine by giving objective reality to your hope. You must begin to see the thing that you desire to manifest in your life is already being real. This is not something you're going to have. It's something that you have currently in your mind. Now, many people say, well, Coach, I don't have it. So how can I do that? As children, we played make-believe, pretend, fantasy all the time. We believed that we were doctors, lawyers, firemen, police, Indians, cowboys, nurses, whatever. And it was real to us. Many of us grew up into those professions because we believed it so real as children. We do the same thing. Jesus says, unless you become as a little child, you shall in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven. Being as little children is changing your belief systems, being open to what the Spirit is suggesting to you. As we become faith-like, childlike in our beliefs, believing that it's possible, we open up the doors to all possibilities. Neville goes on to say, clothe yourself in that feeling. And you have clothed yourself in the reality of Esau. The world will not immediately reflect your feeling, but you have set your desire in motion and cannot take it back. You have given a subjective state your blessing by giving it objective reality. Now it must fulfill its destiny so that you will be blessed in all that you are doing. Neville Goddard, Feel Deeply. Okay, let's talk about this briefly. He says, again, clothe yourself in feeling, whatever the feeling is, whatever it is that you want to manifest. As I stated earlier, whether it be abundance, health, relationships, whatever it is that you desire to manifest in your life, you must begin clothing yourself in that feeling. Subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what you're imagining with feelings and what's actually happening in your reality. The problem is most of us are imagining lack, loss, and limitation as opposed to wisdom, wellness, and wealth. So once we begin to change our focus, we will begin to change the trajectory of what it is that we're drawing into our lives. And you have clothed yourself in the reality of Esau. We're told about Esau. Esau was the brother of Jacob. Esau did not honor his birthright. So he sold it off to Jacob. Esau was symbolic of the outward nature man, whereas Jacob was the spiritual man. Esau judged according to outward appearance. So what you have to do is take that outward appearance and allow it to work for you. You look at the so-called reality without and decide what it is that you want. Once you make that decision, you begin seeing yourself already possessing that thing in the spirit of Esau by seeing it as already real in your reality. The world will not immediately reflect your feeling. What is he saying here? Just because you feel a thing doesn't mean that it's going to have an instantaneous manifestation. Sometimes it takes the world we call reality a moment to catch up what it is that you're imagining. But if you continue to operate in that feeling state, the world will begin to acquiesce and clothe itself around your feelings and turn it into tangible form or manifestation. But he goes on to say, he said, but listen, you have set your desire in motion and cannot take it back. The only way that you can change that feeling that you've set in motion is to change it. If you don't replace it with a more desirable feeling. Now, sometimes we can also replace it with the erroneous feeling of something that we do not want. If we do that, then we're going to undo what it is that we set in motion. It says that the Lord despises a double-minded person because the double-minded person is unstable in his or her ways. When we're talking about the Lord, we're talking about the law of right decree. What are you decreeing morning, noon, and night? And you're decreeing not solely by the words that you're saying, but also the feelings, the states, the attitudes, the emotions that you're out picturing in your life. When you begin to change your feelings, your emotions, your states, your world will also follow suit. Neville goes on to say, you have given a subjective state your blessing by giving it objective reality. What you've thought in your subconscious mind state, you've given it objective reality by seeing that thing real in your life. Neville often called this to think from, not think of. When you're thinking from a state, you already own that state. You're the actor on the stage. When you're thinking of a state, you're the participant in the audience. So you have to make that shift from participant to actor. Now, it must fulfill its destiny so that you will be blessed in all that you are doing. So this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's just a matter of time before that thing is outpictured or manifested in your life. Neville says, this is the blessing. You are going to be blessed in all that you're doing when you begin to practice these principles. And again, this comes from Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply. As we continue on with Feel Deeply, a Neville Goddard technique, Neville says, feel in depth. For what you feel deeply is more vital than what you think. Let me say that again. He says, what you feel deeply is more vital than what you think. Every day you can think about how wonderful it is to be if and never act. But if every day you would feel how wonderful it is now, it will become true. How would you feel if your desire were true? Catch the feeling, sustain it, persist in your assumption, and in a way that no one knows, it will become true for you. Neville Goddard, Feel Deeply. So what are we saying? First of all, Neville says, feel deeply is more vital than what you think. He believed this so much that he wrote a book, Feeling is the Secret. Now, why is feeling more important? We can think a thing and truly not believe that thing. But when we start feeling a thing real, it becomes real to us, especially at the subconscious level. So the thing that we think about, we may not brain about if we don't incorporate feelings with that. Every day, you can think about how wonderful it would be if, and never act. But if every day you would feel how wonderful it is now, it will become true. This is much like Neville talking about thinking from as opposed to thinking of. Many of us are participants watching a movie, as it were, of somebody else's life, but we're not participating in our own life and becoming the actor on the stage. He says, you have to get to a place where you're saying, if every day you're feeling how wonderful it is now, this is what makes it true for you. And when you begin occupying that state, then you begin living from that state, you're going to find that, like I said earlier, that the world is going to begin to mold itself, shape itself after your image. We're told that we've been created in the image and the likeness of God. God says it, and it is so. Likewise with us creators, when we say a thing with feelings, it becomes true for us. Even a lie, if believed long enough, will become true for many. We're told to catch the feeling and sustain it. Many of us would say, well, Coach, I don't know how to feel something that I haven't manifested before in my life. The truth of the matter is we do it all the time. When we think about something that we want, let's say it's a new iPhone or a new car or a new home, we're imagining ourselves in that new home, that new car, using that new iPhone. So it's not that we can't, we just haven't trained ourselves to do so consciously. What I'm asking you to do is become a more conscious creator. He also says, persist in your assumption. What is it that you're believing? Say that it doesn't show up in 24 hours, a month, a year. If it's something that you truly believe, you keep living it out till you brain it about. If you change your mind and decide to go a different direction, that's fine. But be conscious about what it is that you're creating and be, as it were, persistent and also sustain that feeling as long as possible. You don't have to think about something that we already know how to do. For example, when you're successful in running a business, for example, you don't have to think about how it would feel to be successful in running that business. You don't sit there and say, oh, let me make sure I'm thinking about how successful it is to run a business. You just do it. And likewise, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest in your life, you just begin doing that thing, owning that new concept or state of who you are. When you begin living from that state, even though the manifestation hasn't caught up with what it is that you're assuming, it's well on its way. But many of us get derailed because it doesn't come in a time frame that we believe that it should. He says, persist in your assumption, and in a way that no one knows, it will become true for you. And again, this is Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply. What I would suggest that you go back and listen to this discussion repeatedly until it becomes real for you, until you're able to embody the feelings of the thing that you desire. That was Neville Goddard's Feel Deeply. And remember this, creators, that only you can create your perfect world, not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. Until we speak next time, have a great and abundant day.